Right, and welcome to part 10 of this 17 part Lyric Breakdown series. This has to be the most thematic series I've ever done. You know what I mean? First time there's been any cohesion. I can't. This has been an absolute minefield on my channel. 17 free videos. I mean, that's mad. But, yeah. If you missed it over the past pretty much a month and a half, maybe, might be 2 months by the time I release this, I've been going through the album song by song, track by track, and breaking them down, lyric by lyric, giving the meaning. Some songs have a bit more to them than others. Some I've gone on big kind of discussions about my ideologies and philosophies and beliefs. Others, like the Christmas song I did last time, was like literally so straightforward. But yeah, we're on to Warn You now, and Warn You is probably the most interesting song on the album. It's one of the more complex ones, definitely, and it's probably the best song on it. I'd argue. I think not enough definitely has like its purpose. I think Persona is really strong. I think Wasted Potential I really like. U-Turn, of course, is a fan favourite for obvious reasons, but Warn You might be the best as a song. I got Scared to Love Again as well. So yeah. Now Warn You, I think is quite obvious what it's about, but if you didn't know, it's about having a friend who has a partner that you disapprove of, and then lo and behold, they ruined this person, they messed them up, and then you're like, oh, I didn't warn you, man. I should have said something like, you're a clown, I'm a clown, you know what I mean? It's all of that, so, yeah. Verse 1. As subtle as an open book, intense as obvious from the start, complete daisy overlooked the fundamental far. You know it's Broadburn when the first line is a metaphor, but yeah, this person, like, it was literally like, they could have made it more obvious what they were doing, at least in my view. Like they were literally an open book. It was so easy to read the intentions, and that's kind of the opening bit. It's like, but you were so dazed because you were in love, because you were, you had bias because you do when you're in that place and you kind of write them off. And I did that a lot. You go back to when I was breaking down Bandits, and I'm literally praising them for just having like their mere presence there. This person was so obvious in what they were doing, but they could not see what they were doing, and it was like absolutely mad. Red straight through to the climax of guaranteeing insistence. I was a complete bystander running a passive resistance. My opinion didn't differ, I made persistent, and yeah, I I was running a passive resistance. I was saying these things to other people. I never said it to the two main people, the friend and that friend's partner, obviously. But I was kind of saying, "Am I the only one who thinks this?" And I wasn't. And that's when I was like, I knew I knew the climax for the beginning should have been in this song really, because like I literally did know where this was going from the start, and it was like guaranteeing insistence, like that's a bit heavy on, like it wasn't 100%. Like I'm kind of bigging myself up a bit there, aren't I? I was a complete bystander running a passive resistance. My opinion didn't differ. I mean, persistent. Head shaking. You were so naive. That's the Edward for now. I couldn't believe. They were very on and off. They were you know, you thought, okay, they finally realised this person's no good, but then lo and behold, a month down the line, they'd be back together, and you're like, you just got your head in your hand because you're like, what are they doing? Like, but then you don't want to like say anything. You're like, it's that constant frustration, and I really emulate that feeling really well in this song. I watched from afar how she tore you apart. Gonna put her foot in, had to be more smart. The time my relationship would take a dart. You never know until she's fighting not beat from my heart. So yeah, I didn't want to get involved because I didn't feel it was my place really. Like I had my opinion, but it's like, you know what? If they if they're happy, I'm just gonna have to live with it in the time being. And you know, I kind of knew in the back of my head this would collapse eventually because I knew the nature of the two people. I knew there'd be a clash at some point there, and Look, oh wow, there actually was. Look at my shocked expression. But so yeah, then the relationship ticker dart line was like because of this, there was sort of divide, and there were periods where we wouldn't talk as much, I guess. But this was way before I actually wrote the song, because that's the problem. I actually based this song based off the beginning of 2022, or at least the back half of 2021, going into the summer of 22. I kind of and I wrote this in January 2023 after, funny enough, more shenanigans involved than had gone on. So it actually worked quite well because it was fresh in my brain at the time because a massive incident resolving them took place. And I was like, okay, pen to the pad. Now is the time to write this. But I always had this idea in the back of my head. So, and the whole frightened line was like, I was really scared that this friend would change so much because of what this person was doing. And I was like, they might never be the same. They might do like this whole like 180 disband. And I thought at a period that could happen, but luckily that didn't happen. But that was kind of And the chorus is, I saw how she used you, I saw how she bruised you, stayed still as a statue, I didn't warn you, didn't warn it. And yes, I rhymed you with you 3 times. But I think it works as a hook. And it's okay, like, I saw firsthand. And the bruise line is like, there was physical and mental, but both ways that could apply. And then they use them both quite self-explanatory. It's like, yeah, I literally just was a statue because I didn't know how to react. I didn't know how to deal with that. So yeah, stayed still as a statue at that point. And I repeat the chorus 3 times because it was kind of like awkward because I never repeat a chorus 3 times. I feel like you are kind of overdoing it by the third time, but for the way the song played out, it kind of made sense because the chorus is so short. Stay back out of fear, only the hopelessly were clear, let the story descend. That one decision prolonged it for a year. It's not that one decision that prolonged it. I thought I am giving myself a bit I'm like the bloody puppet master. I wasn't that, but it's like I just hoped that surely they could not be as blind. Like there's one thing to be in love, but there's another thing to not see something so bloody obvious. Like it's literally like do they need to literally hold up a sign of like I'm manipulating and using you? Like, like, you know what I mean? It's like they literally could have been wearing a mask that said it and they wouldn't have seen it. But um, that was my hope. That was my hope. Verse 2. Like a witch you under spell, brainwash trapped to cell. It's like I was meeting a stranger, like a catch birds for danger. Sort of manipulation deteriorates in your eyes. Against your own blood, complete alone when it crossed the line. If I could have just spoke my mind, complete confidence holding the right side. How that would have changed tide, faith, Geordie or Survivor. While they were in this relationship, there was noticeable changes in them. They didn't feel themselves, and in the moments when they were not a thing, they they were they were better. You know what I mean? They seemed more themselves, and like it could have been a coincidence, but I doubt that. I doubt that. And there was a noticeable change. So I'm not the only one who pointed that out. So I'm using that kind of imagery because I didn't want to make it straightforward or like obvious. So there's a lot of metaphors in Warn You for good reason. Against their own blood, there was a part where like they were going against their family wishes, and even their own family were telling them like, "What are you doing?" and they were disobeying. That kind of yeah. And it's like it's always that feeling that I think if I would have said something earlier, maybe I could have changed it. Maybe I couldn't have made it gone on for as long as it did. Maybe I could have made it better. Probably not, but I always you do tend to blame yourself for those sort of things, especially when something bad goes down. You're like, you should have been there, you should have done something, but I just let it play out. Every hindrance is overthrown. You were left alone to escape the festival alone. You were in so deep, using torn and recovery is steep. Walk up like the boat and actually speak the biggest risk for a price so cheap. Always knew the climax for the beginning. Oh, I had to get that line in there. Why can I have brought forward the winning? I got lucky with someone in love award who knew how to play. I had to grind bring it from the drought. yeah, eventually they did come to their senses. They went back again, but as things currently stand, I think it's done. I think them in a better place now. A good reason. Hopefully they don't go back. I might have to warn you part two if that happens. But yeah, but it's like that recovery was tough. It took a long time. There were some low moments. There were some real bad bits. There were some real low points. But eventually there was kind of some sort of semblance of a conclusion. So yeah. So that's Warn You. I think it's definitely one of my more complex songs. But I think it's very relatable. I think it's a situation that people do tend to be in. Like you've all had someone with a partner you don't like, and you've got to deal with that. So I think it's more universal than my other songs as well. So yeah. Next, I think I'm breaking down Scared to Love Again potentially. I think that's next in the order. So yeah, goodbye, you lot.